that you may have seen pictures of me and Frieza being connected together. The only reason for that is because Toonami Asia, which is a subsidiary of Toonami, decided for some reason back in 2016 that they were going to start educating Southeast Asia and start sending anime to those countries like Korea, like Vietnam, Malaysia, and
Singapore, Malay, all those.
And so through anime, those countries would start learning how to speak American. So it's awesome in the sense that they were educating those countries in terms of being able to speak
Interesting.
English by sending anime, which is awesome and amazing. So
it's a good teaching tool.
it is. It's now a teaching tool. And so that's the only. So I had to disclose that because, as you guys all know, Funimation is normally responsible for Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And when they decided to do Super, they split it, so they still had the English cast from Funimation, but then they did a second English cast different from the English cast that they already did, which is exactly the same material, no different, but I don't know why they decided to do something different. I'm not Toonami. But they created a separate English cast just for that, and for that, I play Frieza in that.
Gotcha.
And I don't remember who Frieza's sidekick is, but the shorter, bluish guy, alien.
I hardly keep up with some.
Sorbet.
Sorbet. So Paul St. Peter played Sorbet.
Interesting.
And so that was kind of fun because it was kind of like a rekindling of, the Digimon Emperor and Wormmon.
Yep.
So anyway, my whole rant on that was that if it hadn't been for me being proactive and going after Backstage West, I never would have met Eric Sherman, which in turn possibly could have me never being cast as those characters that I just mentioned. So anyway, very, very long answer in terms of how I got into voiceover work.
Yeah,
but hopefully interesting for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, without the guy, Eric, that you mentioned, you wouldn't be in this chair today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any tips you want to give to anybody who wants to go into voice acting?
Yes. So voice acting, guys, is a part of acting. You can't have one without the other. You can't just say, well, I can do funny voices, so I want to be a voice actor. No, it does not happen that way. The reason why you guys watch anime and the reason why sometimes, hopefully, you get attracted to some of those anime characters more than others is because those are strong anime characters. Why are they strong anime characters? Because the people who are voicing them behind those characters are trained actors. They aren't just people who got into the business because they like anime and they wanted to start doing voices. No. They are actually trained actors, and so we come, most of us, from a stage background. So, I would encourage you guys, as you are honing your crafts, wanting to become voice actors, do stage work, go to community theater, take some classes if you're able to, do improv. You would be surprised how many times, as a voice actor, especially in an audition, when you have a certain thought process behind a certain character that you see, a picture of and a description of, and then you visually in your mind create the voice for that character, and then the producer is looking at you like they have not been impressed at all by what you just did and go, okay, that was good, now give me something else.
Right.
Well, it's like if you're not a trained actor and you haven't done improvisation, so you can't think off the top of your head, how are you going to know to come up with another voice? Right?
Right.
Makes sense. So, I would encourage you all, if that is the direction that you want to go, to do all that stuff, because it's going to help you a lot.
Exactly. I know you do heroes and villains. Which one do you prefer recording as?
Always the villains. I mean, that's what I have been getting cast mostly as. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the reasons why I get cast for more villains than heroes, not necessarily that I associate with them better, because I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah.
Or am I? No, it's because every villain has to have come from somewhere to get to where they are.
Exactly.
They weren't born evil. Well, maybe they were, but for the most part, I would say most villains became villains because of something that happened to them that made them despise a situation or despise a person or
Kind
despise
of what happened with Ken.
what happened with Ken. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So I try and bring as much humanity as I can to a character. And I think that's why in the characters that I have done in the past, even though you hate the character, you can't help but also
Feel sympathy.
feel something for that character at the same time. It's like, I hate you, but yet I can't hate you completely. Why is that? And I think it's because of what I try and bring. And keep in mind, like, you have acting, right? You have regular acting, voice acting, like, which is a microcosm of acting. When all that you have to work with is your voice and trying to make whatever emotion that character feels come out of your voice. To do that to that extreme, which is much more difficult, and being able to somehow communicate that to an audience of what this character's going through or feeling or thinking or whatever the case might be. That's why you need the acting background. You just do. But that's also why I feel like I don't know that I necessarily make better evil villains than I do heroes, but you know, the amount of times that I've played a hero, I can probably count on one hand compared to the number of villains that I have.
Right.
And I think, you know, I love playing both, but I think I just have more fun doing the villains because of that.
Yeah, I could tell back in season 2 of Digimon, like the first part of it, I'm like, I bet he's having a lot of fun doing this, because
Yeah.
I recently watched season 2 because I have it on DVD. It's
Okay.
in my backpack, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I bet he had fun doing this.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And what a lot of people may not necessarily realize in anime, and I'm stressing anime specifically because if you're doing a original animation, so what do I mean by original animation? Well, for those of you guys who may not know the difference, anime obviously comes from Japan. And so it is originally done in Japanese and then it is dubbed in English for those, you know, shows that are actually dubbed. But original animation, so like all the Batman stuff that you guys see, you know, the Batman animation, Star Wars, Phineas and Ferb,
My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
My Little Pony, all that stuff, that's all done in America. So it is created from American voices. And with that, 9 times out of 10, when you're in that type of situation, you're not in a booth by yourself with, on the other side of the booth, the engineer and the voice director and sometimes the producer who is watching you and directing you. You have a whole cast of people that you're in a recording booth with, and you basically do kind of what's called a table read, but you're each at your own microphone, and when it's your turn to speak, you leave a couple of seconds, you speak, then you leave a couple of seconds, then the next character speaks, and you keep doing that in a circle. Or whoever has, you know, a scene with somebody. And I love that stuff because that kind of creativity, being able to play off of somebody else when you're in the same booth with each other, there's no experience like that.
Right.
For anime, however, you don't have anything to go off of. Number one. Number two, you never get the script beforehand.
Right.
So you have no idea what you're going in to record. And number three, oftentimes you have no idea, because you have no idea what you're going in to record, you have no idea what's expected of your voice when you do actually go in to record.
Exactly.
So
you have to be on cue when you hear the beats or whatever.
You might be screaming for 2 hours. You know?
Sean Schammel from most of Dragon Ball Z.
There you go.
Todd Havercorn for Fairy Tale.
Hello. Yeah. So you've got all that stuff. So it's a very different experience, you know, when you're going in to record an anime. And a lot of times, because you don't know what you're going in to record or do, you have no idea from one episode to the next what you're doing. You never get to see the whole episode. You only get to see the scenes where your character is speaking.
Right.
And you have no idea in terms of the context of the show whether what you're recording, hopefully, is going to match what just happened prior or after. So imagine me as the actor when I was going in every single episode to record Digimon. And at that point in time, keep in mind, not only myself do I not get the scripts beforehand, but the director also does not get the scripts beforehand. And if they are not the same person that's also writing the script and they're just directing it, which was the case with, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the original directors for that series were Jeff Nimoy and Bob Buchholz,
Yes,
not Mary
Jeff
Elizabeth
Nimoy.
McGlynn.
Yeah, I remember meeting Jeff Nimoy like back in 2006.
Right, and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn came in after Jeff Nimoy and Bob Buchholz and took over the series probably, I would say maybe around episode 10 or 12.
Not know that.
Yeah.
Because I met Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and we interviewed her twice.
Okay.
And she's actually talented at her directing.
She's
job.
amazing.
Yeah.
She is an amazing
Not only
director.
that, also voice actress.
Yeah. So every single week when we would go in and record, I had no idea what I was recording. So it was like peeling off the layers of an onion from this character, because he started off evil. And in fact, when I auditioned for, little side note, can I do a little side note? Do we have time? How much time do we have left?
Let's see.
Just to make sure, because I want to make sure I have enough time to prepare for my next panel.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. We got
18 minutes.
18.
18 minutes? Okay, so can you just kind of keep your eye on it, but like at around 10 till?
Okay.
So like
Yep.
for the next 8 minutes?
Sure.
Are we cool with that?
8 minutes.
Okay, cool. So, side note, when I was asked to come in and audition for Digimon Season 2, by the way, I have never not had to audition for a show in Digimon, except for Season 4. Season 4 was the only season in which I did not have to do an audition. I was just cast as Grumblemon by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. But each season, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 6 and 7, I had to audition for as an actor. And so when I initially went into audition for Season 2, the only character that they were considering me for was Vimon.
Yes.
Because they knew that I could do character funny voices. And they figured I could probably do something with Vimon. Well, when I went in and I was taking a look at all of the characters that were available, and they had them laid out, kind of like similar to this little thing here, which I don't know if you guys can see it or not.
Not really. It's
Okay,
like a little.
like
so
a-
anyway, there's like this little ottoman type thing.
Yeah.
So it was like a table that they had all of the sides on, and I could look at all of the sides, and I, for some reason, was attracted to Ken. And I said, I want to audition for that. So I read the sides for that. Well, when I went in to audition for Vimon, because it was a union show, in the union you are given 15 minutes to audition. Only 15 minutes. And then you're basically kicked out, and the next actor has to come in and they do their time.
It's like next.
Right. So I went in and I did Vimon, and they had me do it a couple of different ways, and they said, that's great, fantastic, thank you so much. And I almost didn't audition for Ken, and I stopped myself because there was that little voice inside of me that says, you're not gonna get this. But I stopped myself and I said, you know what? I see that I have a few minutes left. I'd like to audition for this other character, even though you guys didn't ask me to do it, because I think that I can bring something to the character. And they said, well, what character do you want to do? And I said, well, I see this character called Digimon Emperor. And you could tell from the vibe on the other side of the glass booth, it's like, you're joking, right? It's like, you, as a bad guy, are you kidding me? Because all they thought that I could do was character voices, character funny voices. Or character funny evil voices, but not a human voice, like somebody who's serious, like you know. And
Right.
so I did that, and I remember after I did the audition, and because in an audition you basically have these snippets of different episodes that are all lumped together so they can kind of see the variety and the emotions that you can bring to the character.
Exactly.
So I did it, and I could tell from before, you know, when I did it, and I felt the vibe, and then after when I did the audition, it's like, oh my God, what just happened?
What
You
did I
know?
just do?
Like, no, like them. It's like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, what
Complete
just-
180.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, and so I could tell that I think it was actually because of that audition that I actually changed a lot of people's perspectives about what I could do as an actor, and that I could bring seriousness to a character.
Right.
And I am so glad that I did, because now that's obviously one of the most memorable characters in Digimon.
Right. I was going to ask you what would have been your favorite part, but it looks like you doing the Digimon Emperor was your favorite part of Digimon.
The next best part to doing the Digimon Emperor was the times that I got to talk to myself.
Oh.
Because if you guys remember season 2, there were some episodes where the Digimon Emperor was talking to Vmon.
Yeah.
One in particular, which was the cavern episode,
Oh yes, I
where
remember that.
where all of the
Digidus.
where all of the Digidestined are basically chained against the rocks, you know, just kind of there, and the Digimon Emperor has all of them and is, you know, trying to see what he can do to maniacally destroy them. And Vmon, who is one of the few Digimon that's actually there, has to basically humiliate Davis. And normally speaking, when they record an actor, they will go through all of the characters' lines as one character, then go back, and then they will do all of the other characters' lines. I tend to be more of a continuity type of an actor, so anytime I have the opportunity to be able to just continuously go through the show, I think it's not only better for me, but it's also better for them, because then they don't have to go back and forth. They're still in the same scene, they don't have to try and find it. So I had a blast, and I asked them to keep the microphone open, and I would basically pause, like you would do in original animation, between the two characters speaking to each other. So I actually spoke to myself, literally, for that one episode.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a blast.
Well, since we're running low on time, do you want to talk about your Netflix stuff?
Netflix, awesome, yes. So, Be the Beginning is a show that just came out on March 2nd. It is, to my knowledge, the first made-for-Netflix anime that has been done, and a simuldub. So it's not only for America, but it's also for Japan, Germany, Sweden, Russia. I mean, they've got Brazil. They've got all of these, you know, and it was released at the same time. So no matter what country you're in, you can watch it in your language. And extremely proud of the show. I was only in the first episode, but I'm glad I could be a part of it. And fun fact for you guys to know and love, the producer of Be the Beginning, which is a very dark show, is the same producer from Love Hina.
What?
It's like two completely different shows.
So,
But
anime to this.
right. But yeah, so that is a show that you guys can currently see on Netflix.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Make sure you're subscribed to Netflix, or if you have a friend that is.
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And last thoughts, guys, if you want to follow shows that I'm doing or voiceover work that I'm currently involved in, two ways that you can watch or follow me. One is through Instagram. On there I have an account called VoiceOver Prince, all one word. Second way that you can follow me is on Facebook, and on that it's Derek Stephen Prince space voice actor. So
I was looking for you earlier on Facebook.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go.
Nice. And also, he's on Twitter, by the way.
Yes, I am on Twitter. At my Prince Life.
Yes. Make sure you follow him, guys, and that's about it.
All right.
Catch you on the universe side.